This Hollywood Casino 400 DFS Picks 2025 edition of the NASCAR Gambling Podcast here on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. It's brought to you by Underdog. Underdog is hooking up new customers. Play just $5 and get $50 in bonus funds when you sign up with our promo code RACESGPN.
Driver, start your engine!
Strap in and pull those belts up tight as the Sports Gambling Podcast Network presents the NASCAR Gambling Podcast.
I'm just gonna put my foot on the floor and I'm not lifting till I see God or a checkered flag.
My man.
With all the news and the best bets for your NASCAR weekend.
We want to thank you tonight for these mighty machines that you brought before us. Thank you for the Dodges and the Toyotas. Thank you for the Fords. Lord, I want to thank you for my smoking hot wife tonight, Lisa. In Jesus' name, boogity, boogity, boogity.
Now, here are your hosts, Rod Villagomez and Cody Zeeb.
Welcome in to another episode of the NASCAR Gambling Podcast here on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. He's Cody Zeeb. I'm Rod Villagomez. We have made it to Thursday. That means the end of our broadcast week, and it means DFS. But of course, there's plenty of exciting stuff to be had this weekend as the Xfinity and the Cup Series take to Kansas Speedway for their races, their playoff races, and everything that goes with it. We covered both of those series in our betting picks episode, so go back and listen to those if you want some drivers. But today it is the DFS episode, Cody, and it always signals doesn't always nowadays, but it usually signals the end of our week and a very happy time indeed.
Yeah, absolutely. It just means we're one day closer to the weekend, only a couple days away from racing action. So love when we get through all the bets and get time to talk fantasy here. And Thursday Night Football's on tonight. Beginning of another beautiful, beautiful weekend of sports betting. And it's right now is the best time of the year.
Indeed. Army football is on tonight as well. I'll talk about that in a little bit. That's exciting for me because I do love watching Army, even though they're struggling this year. It's a little tough. Marcus checking in saying first, hi, everyone. Cody, who do you think Marcus's pick is going to be to win Kansas?
I don't know, Rod. Who could it possibly be?
I think he predicts that Christopher Bell is going to win at Kansas. Dominated the race last year, leading 122 laps for a 7th place finish, 4 poles at Kansas. He is definitely a factor this week, but Cody, I don't think, because he wasn't on either one of our betting cards and not going to be in this DFS episode.
No, he wasn't on my fucking betting card after last week, Rod.
I'm just saying, it's,
I did see, he's been actually pretty consistent at Kansas. I think he has the second most top 10s in a row to Alex Bowman, who we will talk about today, actually. But yeah, I don't know. There just wasn't really any good ways to bet on him that I found.
Well, and the books have basically just made it all but impossible to bet some of these guys like Christopher Bell, who is a consistent winner or consistent top 10 finisher or somebody that they've figured out is good. And therefore putting prices on him that make it a little difficult to
Marcus's point, leading 122 laps last year and finishing 7th. I mean, that's a solid DFS play. So
I will tell you that equaled 51.6 fantasy points in that race right there. Actually, that was the Kansas. That was earlier I'm sorry. Christopher Bell, 75.45 fantasy points on the day. Not the most. Do you know, Cody, who had the most fantasy points in the fall race last year?
I was trying to think of that race and how things went down. I know Ross Chastain won, but I don't feel like he dominated the race. I don't know, Rod. Who was it?
I mean, it was Ross Chastain because he
Oh.
started in 20th and ended up winning that
Well,
race
that'll do it.
and led 52 laps in the process. He got you 82.4 fantasy points. Neither one of us are going to talk about it today, but I figured that was a fun piece of trivia, seeing as
Fun
though
fact
Mark
of the day for
teed it
you.
up. I mean,
Now
look,
you can
you
win
learn
trivia this weekend.
bar trivia. Is that where we're at? I have not played a good bar trivia in a long time, but if there was a bar trivia question on where you could find all of our picks and all of our free stuff, you would have to say the SGPN app, because that is exactly where you find all of our free picks and props and all of the many, many shows that are on the SGPN, the Sports Gambling Podcast Network, because there are a ton, from boxing to MMA to horse racing to NASCAR to football to college football to Canadian football. It's all there. Make sure you go download the app in your app store and get easy access to all of it. Kansas Cody.
Yes, it's Kansas this week, Rod. Yeah,
Save me.
I don't know. There's just not a whole lot to talk about kind of leading into it. I think we don't really need to spend too much more time on it. I mean, really the only piece of news that came out today, Zilich is going to be in the 7 truck next week. It's the first time that the trucks are ever going to the Roval. He's going to be in the 7 truck for Spire. What do you think is going to happen in that race? He's probably going to kill everybody, I would imagine. I'd be surprised if he's shorter than minus 150, honestly. We'll have to see, I guess. But yeah, that will make the rest of the field interesting, I think. Might be hard to bet on him, depending on what number we get. But that's your piece of news today, I guess.
So I was telling you yesterday that I was watching that Madden 25 thing on Prime Video the other day, and they were talking about Michael Vick being a cheat code. I feel like Connor Zilich in the Truck Series on the Roval is a cheat code. Like, there's just no stopping him. He'll be twisting and turning and beating everybody up. So, yeah, it's scary.
Yeah, he's going to be tough to beat. But that being said, I mean, we've seen, obviously, you know, truck races get crazy. Truck races on road courses get crazy, and crazy shit happens. And obviously, we'll break it down more next week when we get into it. He's going to be the heavy favorite. He should be the guy that wins. But it is going to open up opportunities with other people at bigger numbers in case something does happen to him. So yeah, it'll be a fun race to break down.
Indeed.
And well, trucks on road courses are fun to break down, and also not fun to watch when you're holding bets, or sometimes it is. It just depends on how things fall out for you, I suppose.
There's a reason we don't get that many of them. I'll tell you that one right now. But because there is 2 races and we can do this again, we figured we will do this for you, throw in the bonus of Xfinity for our DFS episode. So we'll give you Xfinity Series DFS picks. And then, of course, we'll come back and give you the Cup Series DFS picks. And like we always do, we'll give you our high-price driver, our mid-tier driver, and our low-price driver. So we'll start, Cody, with the Xfinity Series, where it is the Kansas Lottery 300 set for 200 laps around this 1.500 mile paved track for 300 even miles in Kansas City, Kansas. And, you know, like I said, Cody, the entry list for this one reads like it always does, but there's a few outliers, a few fun outliers. We're not going to talk about any of them for the most part, but fun folks to keep eyes on.
Yeah, you got 39 entries for 38 spots. Brendan Butterbean Queen, we talked about him yesterday. He's going to be in that 11 car for colleague Raja Karuth. He's making a return to the Xfinity Series in the 17 for Hendrick. Justin Bonsignor, the modified guy, he is going to be driving the 19 car for Joe Gibbs Racing. Patrick Starr is back. Patrick Staropoli, of course, the doctor. He is going to be in the 24 car for Jordan Anderson. Is the 24 car Jordan Anderson? No, that's Sam Hunt. My bad. In the Jordan Anderson 32 car, that's where I was going with that, is our guy, Austin Green. We don't like him as much on the ovals as we do on the road courses.
No, not nearly as much as we do, but definitely a fun little cast of characters in this, as there always are. Well, Cody, I'll tell you what, you're right. There's really not much to him-haw about now. It's just time to get down to it. But I want to do that, and I want to do that commercial free. So let's tell you about our friends over at MyBookie. We're brought to you by MyBookie.ag. MyBookie is your place to bet on football and everything else. Plus, their prop builder is second to none. Their motto is bet on anything, anywhere, anytime. It's easy deposit and lightning fast payout using cryptocurrency. I've been hammering this all week long, and well, we've lost a point. The grand final of the AFL, the Aussie Rules Football League, is happening this weekend. Geelong Cats taking on the Brisbane Lions. Now the Lions are only 11.5 point underdogs at minus 125. I still say you take it because I've been saying take it at 12. I'll still tell you to take it at 11.5. So Brisbane, Nico, you are welcome. We'll be hoisting the grand final, championship, and we'll all have fun watching it happen. So make sure you head over there and do that. Head to mybookie.ag, promo code SGPN for a 100% bet back bonus up to $500 for new customers. That's mybookie.ag, promo code SGPN. We're also brought to you by Novig. Novig is America's #1 sports prediction market. Since Novig is an exchange, you know you're getting some of the best prices in the market. Novig is available in 35 or more states. Download the Novig app and get $50 when you spend $5. If you use our promo code SGPN, get in on the action with Novig. Promo code SGPN. Let us begin down the road of the DFS for this Xfinity race. Cody, what is your high price driver today?
Yes, Rod. Well, Connor Zilic, $13,000. Neither of us are giving him out, but I think he's a must play, so I'm just going to toss that out there. But we'll focus on some other drivers because you get it at this point, right? He's really good. He should be the best car. He's the best driver, all of that fun stuff. So I am going to jump down to kind of the bottom of the top tier here, $9,200. Taking a page out of your book. You gave out the Brandon Jones car lift yesterday, so I snagged him here in the DFS side of things. $9,200 I think is a great price for Brandon Jones. He's pretty solid on a week-to-week basis when it comes to DFS points anyways. 46.6 at Bristol, 48 points at Gateway, 18 but as a road course, 39.4, 39.4, 14, 49. I mean, he kind of delivers consistent results as far as DFS points go. And he's really good on this track type. He's really good at this track in particular. You go back to Las Vegas in the spring, very comparable track to this. Starts in 15th, finishes in 6th. That's a good solid day for you. And you look back at his previous races here at Kansas, and he's been very good. You talked about it yesterday, right? 2 wins here over his career. Last year in the fall, started on the pole. Unfortunately, he only led 4 laps, so that didn't make for a great DFS day, but a 6th place finish. So had a nice, strong run going. Of course, that was still in the JRM days when, not quite as good in the JRM days as he was when it was with Joe Gibbs previously and has been since he rejoined Joe Gibbs Racing. But even 2 years ago for JRM, 2nd place finish here at Kansas with another strong run. And then you go back into his JGR days, and that's where you get into the great finishes. So 2022, he came here, started on the pole and led 4 laps again, interestingly enough. But did get the win. 2021, one of those years where he grabbed victory here. Actually, no, it was not 2021. It was 2020 that he grabbed the victory here. So you have to go back a little while, but multiple wins here, as I mentioned. And in 2020, when he did win here, there it is. They ran her twice. That's what threw me off. So, but point being, he did win here from 10th place, ran 11th in the other race. Brandon Jones, really good at Kansas, at Las Vegas, at Michigan. When you get to these tracks that Brandon Jones is good at, he's just good at them always. He's not good. He's good on a week-to-week basis. He's not great every week, but there are Brandon Jones tracks. And when you get to those tracks, he shines. And there's a couple of guys kind of like that throughout these series where they've just got certain tracks where when you get to him, hey, this is one of his tracks where you highlight him. He jumps up and runs really well. And then he just kind of goes back to being Brandon Jones on a week-to-week basis. But this is one of those weeks for Brandon Jones. If you're going to grab a guy like Connor Zilic at $13,000, which I'm going to, getting another high-priced guy at only $9,200 in Brandon Jones, that's got some good upside. He's got the ability to lead laps. He's got the ability to score big points. I really like him at $9,200.
Well, like you said, I did highlight him in the betting episode yesterday, and I didn't mean to car lift him, but that car lift just kept going up and up and up and up all the way. So, yeah, I agree with you on this one, especially for a good DFS play that if you're going to snag a couple of high-priced guys, and like you said, I mean, I'll lead into my pick with just exactly saying the same thing as far as Connor Zilic is concerned. You're going to play him. There's just not a way that you can get away unless you're doing one single entry in a gigantic GPP, and even then you run the risk of absolutely losing out if you don't have him. But look, if he doesn't, then or if he doesn't go out and do well, if he doesn't go out and win, that's where you're at. So you have to differentiate somehow, but you also have to have Connor Zilic in there in case he goes out and leads every single lap. So,
and TK with the best example of some drivers having their really good tracks, Austin Dillon, right? He's great when it comes to Richmond. If they ran Richmond every week, Austin Dillon would be a consistent threat, but everywhere else he's kind of so-so. But that's again, there's certain drivers in certain races that just show up and at certain tracks. Jonathan checking in as well says, yo, second live show. Let's go. Let's cash some tickets. Rod. Who's your high price driver?
My high price driver is Connor Zilic's teammate, because if it's not Connor Zilic, it's going to end up being Justin Allgaier. And we said this too. I mean, obviously Eric Almirola kind of screwed things up for us, but we've said between Allgaier and Zilic it's pretty much the battle between those two almost on a week-to-week basis. Last week, Allgaier sitting on the pole at Bristol, ended up finishing in 6th place, got 95 laps led in that race, walked away with 73 fantasy points from Bristol, 36 fastest laps on that race as well. Did not have a good week the week before DFS wise at Gateway. He only got you 13 points in that, but he's averaging 39.6 fantasy points per race, which is the second most to, you guessed it, Connor Zilic, and right above Jesse Love for that matter. And Justin Allgaier at $12,000, it's a different mindset if you're going to fade Connor Zilic in a multi-entry, right? I mean, this is not one that you want a single bullet, because obviously with single bullets, you probably want Connor Zilic just in case. But for Justin Allgaier, he's been on this track and he's had a fair level of success on this track. 10 top 10 finishes and 15 starts, 4 top 5s. But the reason I didn't bring him up in the betting episode, does not have a win here. That's the only frustrating part about Justin Allgaier's resume at Kansas. No win. Plus his average finish, 12.2, because the last couple of races here for him have not gone well. He started on the pole in 2023, led 40 laps rather, and then ended up finishing 18th. In 2024, though, he crashed out after starting 9th, finished 36th. So the last 2 races for him on this track, and remember, they only come here once, so you only get one crack at it every single year for the Xfinity Series, and the last 2 he's kind of blown it. But before that, 2nd place in 2022 in the fall, and then 2021 he finished 9th, 10th place in 2020, and then the first race rather of 2020, another 10th place finish, 5th, 38th, 5th, 14th, 5th, 7th, 11th, 6th, 7th. All good finishes for the most part, with the exception of, those couple of outliers in there, but a nice solid little resume. 66% of the time you can count on a top 10 finish out of Justin Allgaier here. And I understand that past performance does not always prove future potential. However, with a guy like Justin Allgaier in a JRM car, on a week-to-week basis, he's going to be fast. He's going to be a contender. And he's not second in terms of fantasy points per race for no reason. So for Justin Allgaier, this is only if you would like a GPP pivot off of Connor Zilic in a multi-entry, because you got to have some variation somewhere, and Justin Allgaier is probably the safest guy to do it. In fact, if you look at laps led at this track overall, John Hunter is the leader as far as Xfinity Series is concerned. John Hunter's not in this field. Daniel Hemrick is second. So John Hunter has 218. Hemrick has 146. Cole Custer has 136. Chandler Smith has 114. Ty Gibbs has 80. And then Justin Allgaier, the first of active drivers, with 57. So not a lot of laps led, but the most out of everybody that's active here. So if he gets around to leading laps and finishing well, then you stand to benefit from having Justin Allgaier. So like Justin Allgaier.
The experts suck. Checking in says, did you just say 66% of the time it works every time?
I'm Yogi Berra.
I love that. But yeah, no, Justin Allgaier, I like it. Obviously, he's kind of a get off a Zilic play in case something happens to Zilic. It doesn't happen often, but it has happened. If you look back at the beginning of the season, we went to tracks like Las Vegas, very similar to this. That was Justin Allgaier dominating everything, and it looked like, oh boy, the defending champ is going to have himself a season. Of course, that was before Zilic kind of got his legs under him and just took off. But he's definitely got it in him. obviously these JRM cars very fast, and it should be Zilich and Allgaier 1A, 1B this weekend.
Yeah, and again, I almost felt like I didn't have to go through and say that, but I'm glad you did, because I know a lot of people are probably like, well, what did he do this season? Well, he did a lot this season, and he's been winning. So, all right, Cody, who's your mid-tier driver?
Well, Rod, I'm going to go down to the $6,900 range.
Nice.
Thank you. For the mustache himself, Mr. Dean Thompson. I talked about him yesterday. By the way, ESPN does have top 10 bets out now for the Xfinity Series, so race on over there and get your top 10s for Xfinity out. Gave them out in the Discord, but William Sawalich, Dean Thompson, and there was another one. You'll have to go to the Discord and find it because I can't remember who it was. But Dean Thompson, great number over there. I think it's north of 6-1, at least this morning it was for Thompson over there. So love that. Talked about him yesterday for the top 5 at the huge number. Love the top 10 for him as well. But in DFS, also love him because he has been hella good this season. We talked about it before and even yesterday, but in the Truck Series last year, very hit and miss, some good weeks, trashed a lot of trucks, kind of was that way for a couple of years. Then he moves up to Xfinity, and you're like, is this just because Thompson is the name on the side of the truck, right? He's bringing daddy's money, but he's actually made do with, especially in a Sam Hunt car. Sam Hunt cars are fine, but they're not necessarily exceptional cars, but he's done really, really well, and I've loved playing him really all season. So 38.6 points last time out of Bristol, 41 points at Gateway. Rough day at a road course, who cares? 41.4, 36. Iowa wasn't great. He had -1, get caught up in something, but 40, 31, 42, 48, 51.8, 34, 45. Then finally, all the way back in May, you get another minus race, but then 55 before that. I mean, he just week to week has been very, very consistent. And the big mile and a half tracks have always kind of been where he's been really good at throughout his time in the Truck Series. But you look at the comp tracks, Las Vegas back in the spring started 28th. Great. You love that for a guy at this price, right? Finished in 15th. He got all those place differential. Good finish. Miami the next week started 24th, finished in 13th. You love to see that. You look at intermediates like Darlington, 30th to 18th. It's beautiful. Charlotte, 23rd to 5th. You love seeing numbers like that. Obviously, we've not really had many intermediates here as of late, especially in this series, but Indianapolis a couple of weeks ago, big sweeping intermediate, 16th to 10th. That's a nice solid day as well. You go back and you look at what he's done here in the Truck Series. The first couple of years, pretty rough. He wrecked some trucks and didn't have great days, but the last 3 starts here, 15th place in September of 23, came back here in May of 24 and went from 22nd to 8th. And then September of 24 last year, finished 13th here in the fall race. So good runs for him kind of down the stretch here. He's been good at the mile and a halves. He's been really consistent all season. You don't even need him to be outstanding or great. They've not qualified well, which you kind of hope for. Hopefully he doesn't. It's going to keep that number big. You buy a little more. Don't be afraid to buy it when he doesn't start well, because he's been able to make up those spots. But you kind of hope he starts a little farther back for DFS purposes, get you that place differential, and just has a solid day, which is what he's done all season long. You get away from the squirrels in the Truck Series, and look at what some of these drivers can do, right? When you're playing with the squirrels all the time in the Truck Series, you're getting your nuts cracked. Now he's away from the squirrels, and his nuts are safe, Rod. $6,900 for the mustache himself. Give me Dean Thompson. I'm all in.
My youngest has this theory that guys with mustaches are nice. So I guess, yeah. I mean, I don't have. I wasn't gonna say. I don't have one anymore, and I can't really grow a good one anymore. So I am out of that pool. But
have you ever? So being in the military, in general, not allowed to have facial hair outside of a mustache. Have you ever rocked just the mustache during your military time?
You may. I'll put one in Discord. You want to see?
I need to go back. I had one in Afghanistan back 2012, long time ago. But yeah, I was rocking one hard then, and a little bit throughout my military time. I definitely had one. So we'll have to pull out the mustache pictures in honor of Dean Thompson.
Yeah, there you go. Dean Thompson week. Yeah, go to the Discord, sg.pn/Discord. We'll put our mustache picture up in there. Absolutely. You guys will not even believe it. But all right. Speaking of mustache pictures, I know he doesn't have one, but it's always fun to, play around with that. Butterbean Queen is my mid-tier driver. $7,100 for Butterbean. He's made one Xfinity Series start in his career, and that ended up in a solid, actually, DFS day for him as well. In fact, I'm scrolling because I had another guy pulled up. So let me pull up Butterbean Queen.
He does have a mullet, by the way, which is probably the next best thing to mustache. So.
Mullets rock. But he did have a 31-point day at the Food City 300 at Bristol. So he started 28th, finished in 20th place, did Butterbean Queen. But he's driving that 11 car this week. And here's the thing about the 11 car. Josh Williams was actually, the reason I didn't have Queen up is because I had Josh Williams, was averaging 23.8 fantasy points per race in that 11 car before he was summarily exited. And the reason he was doing so is because he was starting somewhere in the 30s, somewhere in the mid 30s, mid 30s. I guess you can't start too much more, but somewhere in the 30s and finishing in the 20s on almost a consistent basis. And so for Josh Williams and for Queen, that's almost the same type of MO that you get from that, right? And I'm pulling up some finishes here where it was 12th in Phoenix, which is an oval, right? A kind of comparable. Martinsville started 26th, finished in 17th. He had a 7th place finish at Rockingham. Did William a 6th place finish at Charlotte, which is a mile and a half. He had a pretty good DFS day at Nashville, where he started 26th and ended up finishing in 17th. So, that got him 33 points on the day. He's had 39 points at Pocono, 57 points at Charlotte, did Josh Williams, 49 points at the North Carolina Education Lottery, where he finished in 8th place overall at that race. So, yeah, I mean, look, for Josh Williams, this car is what it is, right? It's a start in the rear and move up in place differential type of a car. And for Queen, that's all the day you want out of him. You want him to stay clean. You want him to have a top 20 finish at the end of the day, right? A top 20 finish for the 11 car may seem not very good, but it's actually really damn good when you are getting a guy in his second Xfinity Series start and can make up some place differential points, possibly get you a good 35-point day, which at $7,000, quick back of the napkin math, is a pretty good return on your investment. And if he can even get you somewhere close to 30 points or 28 points or something in that vicinity, right? A nice top 25 finish, a nice top 20 finish again, then he's well worth the investment, because I don't know that a lot of people are going to be on him. They're going to see that he's only raced in one race and they're, okay, the casual player may skip over him because he doesn't have the pizzazz that most of these other guys do. But for you, right, and you talked about him on the betting show yesterday. I think we talked a little bit about him. I think a good this is a great place to play Queen, because he will be a differentiating play for you.
Speaking of my other top 10 play, Rod, it was Butterbean. Thanks for reminding me. So now you have it. But and I like him for that reason, right? Talked about him a lot yesterday, and I think you hit all the points pretty good there. But he's a guy that's kind of an up and comer. We thought yesterday, you thought maybe he was a little bit younger. He's actually 27, but is kind of on that upward trajectory right now, and a guy that's kind of getting a lot of steam. He's been really showing out in ARCA series, which is almost shocking because generally only the Gibbs cars are like way better than the rest of the cars, and he's not been in a Gibbs car, but been performing really well in the ARCA levels. So I'm excited to see him get this start this weekend, and I think that he is going to be a solid play. Another guy that you kind of hope doesn't qualify too well and just minds his P's and Q's throughout the day and races good. And again, Kansas, higher tire wear track, that leans in towards guys that are used to saving tires and taking care of their equipment. And being a guy that's been in the late model ranks for a while, he's really good at that type of stuff. So, I love the Butterbean Queen. And
I will add that Josh Williams in Kansas in the spring started 18th, finished 11th on this track. So there's a good DFS day for him there as well. So,
Williams, a couple of good runs. And that was kind of why I pointed out Queen for the top 5 yesterday, and more so I like the top 10, but we didn't have the odds at the time yesterday. But I think he had a 5th or 6th place finish at either Charlotte or Texas as well. So that car has run well on 1.5 miles, and I think you have a better driver in it now. And no offense to Josh Williams, but he just kind of didn't live up to it. So, I really like it.
All right. Well, TK saying I am out of the mustache pool, but on Brennan pool for DFS. I was last week. I'm not on this week.
Rod's always on Brennan Poole for sure. But yeah, not this week, Rod. Should we get to our low tier Xfinity drivers here? Let's do it. I am going to take a page out of your book because I believe you've given out Mr. Ryan Ellis a few times before, but I'm going to take him this week, $5,300. To your point, he's that you've made before. He's just a consistent fantasy guy, right? Rough day at Bristol last time out, -6 points, fine, but looking down his points before that, 39, 30, 52.9, hell of a day a couple of weeks ago, 17, 26, 34, 16, 15, 24, 28. You get some ones in there, you get some twos in there, a -8, but 56 at Charlotte, by the way, last 1.5 miles we were at. So Ryan Ellis has had some pretty good days. You look at his career here in the Xfinity Series at Kansas, 2 bad finishes back in 2015 and 2016 in his first 2 starts. That was with Rick Ware and Bika Racing. I don't even remember that team. Both of those, by the way, mechanical issues, so didn't finish the races. But then he came back here last year in an Alpha Prime car. Not a great car, but much better than those cars he was in before. 17th and 19th place finishes after starting 23rd and 29th. Very respectable finishes. Now he's in the DGM car, which I would say is maybe even a little bit of an upgrade from the Alpha Prime cars. Not a huge step up, but he's slowly moving up in the world here. So he's had good runs the last couple of times that he was here. And I think he can continue that. You go back and you look kind of through his season. Indianapolis a couple weeks ago, again, kind of our most recent big track we went to. Started 34th, beautiful. Finished in 21st, also beautiful, right? A good, strong day. Going back, did have a rough day at like Pocono, but Charlotte, where I mentioned he had all those points, he started in 30th and finished 8th. This guy has the upside of being able to finish in 8th place even after starting in 30th. I think there was some shenanigans late in that one that helped lead to that. But hey, he stayed out of trouble and got the job done. So you love to see that. 20th place finish at Miami. That's a good run. Not a great day at Las Vegas, but didn't lose your points either because he started 35th and finished 34th. Fine. It's not a great day. Not going to get you a lot of points, but didn't lose the points for you either. 23rd place finish at Texas as well. So been pretty solid on the 1.5 mile tracks. And then, of course, last year, talked about the Kansas finish where he had a solid day finishing in 19th after starting in 29th. Las Vegas, 34th to 28th. That's fine enough. Michigan, comp track to this, right? This is mini Michigan, 37th to 14th. Again, that was an Alpha Prime car. So great solid days for him. 27th at Charlotte, 22nd at Las Vegas. So good runs for Ryan Ellis on these bigger tracks. He's been making do with what he's got, and I think arguably in the best equipment he's been in now. Not the greatest equipment in the world, but definitely, solid equipment at only $5,300. As you're looking through the board, that's pretty far down there. Glenn Reen, $5,000 is the cheapest. Smithley, Gase, and then Ryan Ellis is the 4th cheapest guy on the board at just $5,300 for a guy who's pretty consistent week to week and getting some points. Has the upside of going from 30th to 8th, like you did at the last time we were at 1.5 miles. You like to see
you do. And I can, I'll back you on Ryan Ellis because I tend to give him out a lot in DFS and he really rewards you for it on a week-to-week basis. So like that, although my eyes sort of fell on young Joey Gase. You just talked about him. He has $5,200. He is in that Garage 66 car. And look, man, for Joey Gase, he's not a full-time driver and he has not driven a full-time slate. Obviously, he's got 13 starts this season, but I like to use at least the fantasy points per race part of it because it sort of equalizes things and it gives you, I know that full-time drivers have got more under their belts, but when he shows up, he's actually pretty consistent for you, scoring 24.9 fantasy points per race. Now, how does he do that? Well, starts in the back and finishes better than he starts. And that's really what the key is to some of these guys in the back. Who is he scoring better than? Because, I like to throw that in there. Well, he is scoring better than Josh Williams, 23.8 fantasy points per race. Believe it or not, and I get it, I know that Sheldon Creed is a full-time driver and he's got 27 races under his belt, but Sheldon Creed, 22.5 fantasy points per race for Sheldon Creed. How about Parker Retzlaff, 21 fantasy points per race. Nick Sanchez, 19.8. Leland Honeyman, Blaine Perkins, William Sawalich at 15.1, who's run all 27 races. So Joey Gase doing good things behind the wheel when he gets the opportunity for it, and putting together some pretty solid DFS days for you. And I think as a low price driver at $5,200, just fantastic. Now Bristol, not very good. He got you 7 points there, but before that, 28 points in the race at Gateway, and then 25 points at the race at Daytona. Iowa, he got you 21 points. And then the week before that, he got you 41 points at Indy. So some very, very good runs for Joey Gase. 29 points before that at Texas. 38 points at Atlanta to begin the season. So yeah, super speedways, I get it, but like he's actually run very well for you and gotten you a pretty solid level of fantasy points. And if he's getting me 22, 23 fantasy points, maybe even 25 with the upside of somewhere around 30 for $5,200, that again is another solid return on your investment. And when you're looking down below there, like you said, Cody, there's not a whole lot to hang your hat on in salary relief when it comes to these guys at the bottom, because below Joey Gase is Smithley and Reen, and Smithley's getting you 21.5 fantasy points per race, but coming off of a stretch where, he got you 65 at the Wawa 250, but 2 points, 5 points, 8 points, like his floor is really, really low. But I think his teammates got a lot more potential to run that. So give me my man, Joey Gase at $5,200.
Yeah, no argument for me here. He's a guy that's been around a long time, kind of just a quiet veteran at this point, gets the most out of his equipment. That's the guys we really like to target in these smaller series, especially near the bottom of the board when you're trying to shove in the Connor Ziliches and Justin Allgaiers of the world at $12,000, $13,000 at the top.
Yeah,
of the board.
and these are guys that we don't get to talk about on the betting episode either, which is why we do enjoy being able to talk about them in DFS. So, all right, get out your pen and paper. Time to go over our DFS picks for this actually Kansas Lottery 300 from the Kansas Speedway. Cody started you off with Brandon Jones at $9,200 as his high price driver. I said Justin Allgaier, $12,000 is my high price driver. Cody dropped down to Dean Thompson at $6,900 as his mid-tier driver. I said Brendan Queen at $7,100 was mine. Cody gave you Ryan Ellis at $5,300 as his low price driver, and I gave you Joey Gase at $5,200 to be my low price driver. All right, we got Cup Series to get to on the other end of this, but first let me tell you formally about our friends over at Underdog. Underdogs is a great place to play fantasy pick'em, where you can win up to 500 times your entry. Simply pick higher or lower on your favorite players' stats. It's available in a ton of sports. I've been hammering this all week long, and now you actually get an extra yard because the projection for Noah Short has dropped to 37.5 rushing yards. So definitely give me the higher on this one, because Noah Short, as I've said before, one of the major parts of the Army rushing attack. I think he's one of the quickest on the team, and I think he's going to be in for a big day. So higher than 37.5. Army taking on ECU tonight on Thursday night. So make sure if you missed this and you're like, oh man, well, guess what? Watch this show live. You'll get all of these picks just live as they happen. So yes, give me Noah Short for Army, higher than 37.5 rushing yards for tonight's game. You can find that and all of the other great plays for Underdog. Plus, I got a brand new offer for new customers. Play just $5 and get $50 in bonus funds when you sign up with our promo code RACESGPN. NFL's back, baby, and Rhythm is off to a great start in college football and the NFL. Rhythm has introduced a leaderboard with weekly cash prizes just for tracking your bets in the app. Track 5 bets of the same type from any model you build. You can win $1,000. Taking a look at the 49ers and the Jaguars, my beloved 49ers and the Jaguars. Well, Rhythm is predicting a 46.4 point game combined between these, and the over-under on my bookie, 47. So grab the under at -110 because Rhythm is predicting only 46 points to be scored between these two teams. Therefore, the under is in play. That's how you use that, and that's exactly why you go to Rhythm right now. Plus, you use promo code SGPN25 when you download the Rhythm app for 25% off of your first month. Download Rhythm and use promo code SGPN25. Not just for my fantasy purposes, but I truly hope just for regular purposes that Brock Purdy comes back again. Not that I didn't love what Mac Jones brought to the table. Believe me, he held down the fort, but God, I'm so tired of watching anybody but Brock Purdy.
Hey, McCorkle undefeated this season, Rod. What is the 49ers deal though? Like every year it seems like everybody on the team.
Do you want to know what it is? I think it's the Jimmy G effect. It happened when Jimmy G came, won us like 6 games in a row, and then got hurt, and then everybody after that, everybody started getting hurt. So I don't know.
It's got to be. It's rough there in 49er land, but 3-0, so
it's 100% rough in that land. But here's the thing, right? When I watched the Niners, and I mean, Alex Smith got hurt and all that other good stuff, but it was like, I don't know. It's very frustrating. So what's not frustrating is the Cup Series, where we are set for the Hollywood Casino.
Except for last week.
Frustrating for you. I had a great.
For me, at least.
I don't know what you're talking about. Yeah. No, the Hollywood Casino 400 set for 267 laps around this 1.500 mile paved track for 400.500 miles. The Kansas Speedway in Kansas City, Kansas. Another playoff race, Cody. So something to keep an eye on, I suppose, but not necessarily driving factor for our DFS picks.
Yes, absolutely. I love the names of these races, by the way. Kansas Speedway just completely embracing all forms of gambling. You got the Kansas Lottery race. You got the Hollywood Casino by ESPN bet race. It's just the degeneracy is great. I saw Ty Dillon's going to be in the DraftKings car again this week, so be careful if there's a matchup on him, because last time he was in the DraftKings car, everybody hammered him in the matchup over Cody Ware, and then he shockingly wrecked. I don't know, Rod. I'm not saying it was fixed, but everybody lost their money there, so watch out.
Oh, conspiracy theory. Take it to Reddit.
Oh, that's great. That's right. All right, Rod. Should we jump into our
let's high price driver, mid tier driver, low price driver for all of them, just like normal. Cody, who's your high price driver?
Well, Rod, I'm gonna go to the top of the board here. Kyle. Oh, wait, just kidding. It's post Indianapolis 500. We're not playing Captain Shook. Don't give a fuck. So I'm going to go down a little bit. This is a tough week, I think, to kind of try and nail who's going to be at the top of the board. I think qualifying, I don't know, because we talked about, and you gave out the bet, that the winner will probably start worse than 4.5. That's what's happened more times than it hasn't in the next gen car. So I'm still undecided which of the favorites. Denny Hamlin, kind of the guy that I'm leaning towards the most, but I don't really know exactly what to expect from the top of the board this week. But near the bottom of the top of the board, like I did in the Xfinity Series, I'm going to go with a cheap, expensive driver this week, and that's Chase Elliott at $9,000. He's kind of sitting here underneath a lot of other guys: Joe Logano, Briscoe, Reddick, Byron Bell, Hamlin, Blaney, Larson, all more expensive than him. And you got Chase Elliott tucked in here at a nice $9,000 on a track that he's been really good on. Arguably had one of the best cars here in the springtime, was able to get out front, and when he did, he ran away with it. Kyle Larson wasn't able to catch him. Unfortunately, his pit crew fucked that up, and he got mired back in traffic and ended up with not a great day, finishing in 15th, which his worst finish of the next gen era post his first start here in the next gen era. But he's been really good at Kansas over his career. The last 14 starts here, he's been in the top 10 times. And really, in his last 16 starts, he has one finish outside of the top, or two finishes, I guess, outside of the top 12. The 15th here in the spring, and then a 29th place finish back in May of 22. I don't remember what happened in that race, but was not good. But led 29 laps and showed the ability, if he got out front in the spring here, that he could hold that and look good. Last year in this fall race, he started dead last, ended up finishing in 9th, so that's a great DFS day for you there. Third place finish here in 24. Fall of 23, he led 47 laps that day on his way to a 6th place finish with a good run. 7th here in May of 23, 11th here in September of 22. So been a very good track for Chase Elliott. The season has been a little bit more down lately than it's been up, but coming off a 5th place run last week in New Hampshire where he looked pretty good, you'd like to see that. Had the tough day at Bristol, ended up, getting wrecked there and finishing in 38th place. But Gateway, he was in 3rd place. So the 2 races where he hasn't DNF'd in the last 2 races, both top 5 runs and good good solid days for him, and started 27th at New Hampshire, started 19th at Worldwide Technology. So they've not been qualifying well, but still been getting pretty decent results. Same thing at Daytona, right? Started in 30th and finished in 10th. So kind of the same story there. But you go back and you look, there's not a lot that really jumps off the board and screams, take me, I guess, in some of these other races. But Charlotte started in 22nd, finished in 6th. That's another solid day on a mile and a half. Back in Vegas, he finished in 10th place. You'd like to see it definitely a little bit better. But I'm kind of feeling Chase Elliott this week. I think that we kind of get him in the playoffs. He kind of gets in that mode and goes out and scores those good results. And it's not always where he leads a ton of laps, which at $9,000, you don't need him to go lead a ton of laps. But he's got the ability to if they can get the car out there. And we saw it in the spring. Obviously, Hendrick was very good here. This would be a great get right spot for them because they've not been super great over the past 3 months, I guess, really. If you think about it, when's the last time a Hendrick car won? It's been a while. I mean, it probably had to be William Byron, and I can't think of the last time he won. So, but anyways, that's kind of crazy, actually, now that I think about it. But I think this could be a get right spot for maybe some of the Hendrick drivers at least. And Chase Elliott at $9,000, I think kind of a sneaky play here. You can find one of these higher guys at Denny Hamlin to pair him with or whoever it is you like, and then play Chase Elliott at $9,000.
Yeah, I like it. And, you go back, he's actually scored pretty well at Kansas. Last year, he got you 64 points in the fall. He got you 51 points in the spring of 2024. So he's been in that 53 points before that. So, yeah, he's definitely been amongst the better scorers, 57 points before that. So, yeah, definitely a good investment is Chase Elliott, especially when you're trying to fit some expensive guys in there, like my expensive guy, and that's Ryan Blaney. $10,700 for Ryan Blaney. He's hot. He's got the third most fantasy points per race in the series. Obviously, got you 113 points last week in the win after starting second, leading 116 laps of just fantastic New Hampshire racing. And before that, 51 points, 45, 20, okay, 58, 70, 45, 64, 59, 65. It's just, it reads off the page, just fantastic for Ryan Blaney. But what's he done here on this one? Again, if you want to figure out all of the point totals from previous races, our friends over at iFantasy Race, Ryan has got a list of all of the fantasy points going back a few years. So make sure you do that. Ryan Blaney in the spring of this year was the sixth best scorer on the board with 51.6 points. He started 10th and finished in third. Didn't lead any laps, but still a 51-point day is a really good day for Ryan Blaney. And then in the fall of 2024, he got you 54 points, where he started seventh, finished fourth, had 23 of the fastest laps and led 3 laps on that day. Ryan Blaney had a 45-point day, which was the 9th best scoring output of the day in 2024 in the spring, where he started 26th and finished in 12th. He didn't lead any laps or have any fast laps, but pretty good place differential on the day for Ryan Blaney. 37 points before that in the fall of 2023. So consistently scoring some pretty good point totals for you overall. And like Cody said, I mean, we've got the more expensive guys out here. And I don't trust Kyle Larson. I really just don't. And you'll take a step back for Ryan Blaney. He's the second highest price driver on the slate, but he's the hottest driver right now, in my opinion. Denny Hamlin, 10-5. Yeah, but right. I mean, Denny Hamlin has won a few races here recently, but it just feels like his bad luck is catching up with him. So Christopher Bell, we just talked about him. William Byron, not really feeling it. So as far as the higher price drivers go, I'm going to go ahead and say Ryan Blaney at 10-7.
Yeah, and I think we've seen all year on this track type in particular, Penske has had a lot of speed. We've seen Blaney be fast, Barry. I was a little bit sad to leave him off on this show, but go back and listen to the betting episode. I'm definitely on him this week. We should have probably gave out Joey Logano somewhere in here. I'm sad we didn't again, but a guy to watch. I think the Penske camp could have a very good weekend. They've been good on the mile and a halves and on this track type in particular this season. So I have no arguments with the Ryan Blaney play. Again, in a weekend where it's kind of tough there's not a Christopher Bell at the top of the board just screaming at you saying, I was supposed to be good, even though I sucked. Like at New Hampshire.
Yeah, I mean, look, this is one where you just kind of pick your poison and run with it because you just don't. I mean, as much as we think the betting, DFS just feels like a bigger crapshoot to me. So, all right, well, you are staying in the. Oh, here we go, Brian.
Yeah, TK. Real quick, our show researcher, he says William Byron at Iowa was the last HMS win. So that was only 8 races ago, but it seems like a lot longer ago than that. And then Chase Elliott, at the second most recent in Atlanta. Kyle Larson hasn't won since the Kansas Spring Race, Rod. A long time ago. What has happened to Kyle Larson since the Kansas Spring Race? I was trying to think of what it might have been. And there it is. Yeah. Captain
Arg, mateys.
Crazy. All right, Rod. Yeah, so as you were saying, I am sticking in the not on purpose, but I am sticking in the HMS camp. I guess I'm on the train that they're going to maybe figure some stuff out this weekend. And I'm going to go with Alex Bowman, the lowest of the HMS drivers in most people's eyes, and I think statistically speaking as well. But he's been very, very good at Kansas Speedway. Honestly, probably one of his better tracks. He has been top 10 here in every next-gen race. So checking in at only $7,800, okay, you're getting a guy that's finished top 10 here every single time in the next-gen era. And even pre-next-gen, 11th in the one race prior to the next-gen era, had an 18th in there. But then you go back over the last 13 starts here, one time he's finished outside of the top 11, and that was that 18th place run. And really, he's got 15 starts here. In the Hendrick Motorsports era, we're not going to count the Tommy Baldwin and BK Racing days, but 15 starts here in the Hendrick Motorsports era. He's never finished worse than 18th place. So if you want to talk about a little bit of consistency in a guy that's going to finish well, Alex Bowman seems to be that guy, right? So, and in the next-gen era, September 11th of 2022, he's got the ability to go out there and lead 107 laps. He's got that upside to him. We're getting due for that random Alex Bowman wins Chicago street race. Alex Bowman wins here out of nowhere race. We're about due for it. He's already out of the playoffs. Could this be the weekend? I'm not going to count him out, certainly. But I think at this number, at $7,800 for his price, I think that he's a good play for a track he's been really damn good at. And I need to go back and look at his top 10 number and see if there's a reason we didn't give that out on the betting episode, if that was overlooked by us or if that was a non-bettable number potentially. But he's been very good here. And you go back and you look, at some of the comparison tracks. You go back to Las Vegas in the spring, a 7th place run there. So, okay, you like to see that. Great, right? Obviously, he finished 5th here at Kansas. By the way, he started 21st in that race, so he didn't have to start well to finish well, which is even better because we like when you don't have to start well to finish well. Did get wrecked out of Michigan. Again, shit's going to happen sometimes. But Indianapolis, again, a recent big fast track. Starts in 21st, finishes in 9th place. Good solid run there. So playoffs weren't great to him throughout that first round there. Kind of had some rough races. Did bounce back with an 8th place at Bristol. 15th in New Hampshire is decent enough. So we'll take it. But Kansas in particular, been a very good track for Mr. Bowman. And I just feel like with as down as HMS has been lately, getting to 1.5 miles, kind of the bread and butter of things, this is potentially a good spot for them to really right the ship. And I will even extend that to Kyle Larson, because if Kyle Larson doesn't go out and dominate this race like he did in the spring and win this race, then if your flags have not already been raised, which, look, they should have been raised on the shook ship a while ago, but if they've not been raised, they better really be fucking raised at that point in time, because, if he can't figure it out this week, boy, there's definitely some big questions there. So Alex Bowman, by the way, -110 for a top 10. So I might have to. I have not put out the article with the best bets yet. I might have to add that in there because he's been very, very good at this track, and I think it's going to be a bit of a Bowman resurgence week, and maybe again has 107 laps kind of let out of nowhere, and you're like, oh shit. At $7,800, it'd be a pretty solid deal.
Indeed. Elliot will be very happy to hear that because he is a Bowman fan as well. So definitely a 48 fan through and through. And yeah, I mean, it's bound to have one good day, right? He pretty much needs to. So I feel like that should be a good place for him to do it. All right. Well, I'm taking a page.
Yeah. And the pressure, no pressure in the playoffs anymore. Like he's already been bounced. So to go out and have a really strong day or compete for a win, that goes a long way for a guy like that on a team like that when he was bounced so early in the
Yeah,
playoffs.
yeah, and when you're on a powerhouse team, you need to show out. And I think there's a lot of people that are saying Alex Bowman is past due. So I think a good run here could go a long way in maybe just calming all the waters down. So, all right, Cody, I'm taking a page out of your book for my mid-tier driver, and I'm going to John Hunter Nemechek at $6,200. John Hunter Nemechek, who got you 41 points in the spring with a 10th place finish after starting in 17th. And that was before all of a sudden Legacy Motor Club just figured out how to be really, really good. So if he did that earlier, then I'm definitely high on what he can do as of now. Got you 13 points in the fall of 2024. Not all that great, but he got you 46 points here. Started 29th in the spring of 2024 and finished in 13th. And he got you one fast lap. So a really good finish there as well. Yeah, I mean, and for John Hunter Nemechek too, if you think about it, Xfinity Series, I was talking to you about how he led a bunch of laps, 218 laps in his 3 starts on this track with 2 wins, one in the Gibbs 20, and then one in the 42, and an 8th place finish after starting 15th in the 23 car. So really fantastic in the Xfinity Series on this track altogether, and has just been good. I mean, like I said, he finished 10th here in the spring, but lately it's been a string of pretty solid finishes for him, especially in DFS, right? He got you 2 points last week in New Hampshire. All right, but 38 points at Bristol, 52 points over there in Gateway, where he finished in 6th place. What a great day there. The Cookout in Darlington, he got you 75 points. He got you 45 points at Daytona before that. Just really, really solid days for John Hunter Nemechek as far as fantasy purposes all year long. 56 points at the Brickyard 400, 28 points before that, 38 points before that. It's just, he's definitely been putting together solid DFS days, especially. Betting wise, I know you're on him as well, but I think for DFS purposes, especially at $6,200, this is such a great, fantastic DFS play this week, especially for him getting you 40 some odd points the last few times that he's been out. That's a solid return. So I definitely love me some John Hunter Nemechek at $6,200.
Yeah, love John Hunter Nemechek just about every week. I mean, he finds his way into my lineups more than he doesn't because he's a solid play each and every single week. They continue, both of them, him and Eric Jones, in that legacy team, continue to perform above expectation. And yeah, I've only got good things to say about Nemechek. You referenced him earlier when you were talking about most laps led here in Xfinity Series. I think he was the one on that list, actually. So he's been, if you look at the Truck Series, that really adds to it because I know he was great here in the trucks for many years also. But yeah, love John Hunter Nemechek this week and every week, of course, at $6,200.
Beautiful. All right. Well, we got to save some money, and you've definitely saved us some money here. Who do you got?
Well, Rod, it is still 2025. This is not a replay of a 2024 Xfinity Series show. But I'm going to go a little bit off the wall here. A guy we don't really talk about much. A lot of these names get recycled. We talk about a lot of guys a lot. I'm going a little bit off the reservation here with Riley Herbst at only $5,000. So you got Riley Herbst coming in here in a 2311 car, and we've kind of talked about it's been a mixed bag for a 2311. You think, oh, Kansas, they're really great there. It's been less so lately, but sometimes they performed well and not finished well. And John was asking a good way to bet on Reddick. No is the answer to that question. I think this week is just not a good way that I can see to bet on him. But Riley Herbst, I think at this price is a great guy to kind of zone in on. And you look back at what he's done, mile and a half is where he kind of shined in the Xfinity Series. That I think sort of led to him getting this type of ride, right? We saw him get that win at Indianapolis last year. Now, granted, they were using the drafting package there, yes, but still how it was running, it was a good race on a bigger track. He won at Las Vegas in dominating fashion. Of course, his home track, sister track to Kansas, very similar tracks. And you go back and you look at this season and what has he done? Well, Las Vegas in the spring, he started in 34th. He finished in 19th place. For $5,000, that's a hell of a DFS day. and we'll definitely take that. You go to Texas, started in 21st, so a little better than you want a guy this cheap to start, but he finished in 14th, so he had a great run there. Here at Kansas in the spring, 27th place finishes at the end of the world, started in 25th, so he still got you points, not as many as you'd have hoped for, but Michigan, he starts 34th, finishes in 25th. So again, having good solid days on all of these comp tracks. Even Charlotte, 31st to 28th is okay. It's an okay enough day, I guess you would take it. But Indianapolis, he finished in 26th place. So he's had some really good runs in the mile and a halves. I think it's a place where, especially for these young guys, kind of still getting used to these Cup Series cars, getting used to racing these guys, you get to stretch out a little bit, right? It's not these small, compact tracks like a New Hampshire, like a Bristol, like some of these places we've been where there's a lot of action going on. You're quickly getting lapped, and then you're trying to stay out of the way and not be in the leader's way and all this stuff. You got to stretch your legs a little bit and kind of do your thing on a bigger track like a Kansas. And I think that Riley Herbst at $5,000, he's off everybody's radar at this point in time, right? Nobody's looking at Riley Herbst right now. It's been a forgettable rookie season for him. There's not been many highlights, but the mile and a halves, he's kind of put it together with some solid days. We know 2311 can be really good at this type of track. So yeah, give me Riley Herbst at $5,000, very near the bottom of the board.
I mean, and what's frustrating about Riley Herbst is that you expected, like you said, a little more out of him to be compared to the hosts of ours and
Did we though? I don't know if we were.
I don't know, but what he did in the Xfinity Series, you expected a little more out of it, yeah.
Yeah, but did he do that much in the remember how we used to make fun of him because we thought he was only there because Monster liked him, and we were always questioning why Monster liked him. And I think some of that could be translated into how did he get this ride in particular over a Corey Heim, say, or something like that. But he's been okay. I think we probably had higher expectations than running basically last every week, I guess. So to your point, yes. Brand new team for 2311. They're obviously going through the lawsuit and stuff. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see as we get into year 2 with him if he can do anything in that ride. Otherwise, I think they're going to quickly look to, that in theory is probably Corey Heim's ride in 27 in the Cup Series. But
we will, and I think you're right. So I like it. All right. I know it's not NASCAR After Dark, but the next guy needs no introduction. I am going to take young Noah Gragson, $5,900 for Noah Gragson. And if you aren't watching YouTube, then you have just done yourself a disservice. But Noah Gragson, $5,900 for him as my low price driver. Look, he got you 39.45 points here in the spring, which was the 11th most. $5,900, you're not expecting to just crack, just miss the top 10 in overall points scored. He started 24th, ended up finishing 14th. It got you one lap led. In the fall of 2024, he got you the 17th most fantasy points on the day with 31. Started 24th, finished 18th, did get a fast lap in that one as well. Noah Gragson in the spring of 2024 got you 29.90 points, started 3rd, finished in 9th, got you 2 fast laps. So, I'm sorry, that was the spring of 2024. So Noah Gragson riding a few good finishes here as far as DFS purposes are concerned. And you got to like that from a guy who's just about $6,000. And he's just going to be, he's not anything flashy right now. Definitely not somebody that you're out there going, all right, let's go. But overall, he's holding his position, right? He's starting 25th and he's finishing 25th. So that's kind of all you would hope for out of a guy that's that low down. Last week in New Hampshire, like I said, he got you 33. He started 33rd, finished in 16th. That's actually a pretty decent DFS day. But really, earlier this season, he got you 39 points here at Kansas, which is really what I'm hoping for. Again, coming off of 2 good DFS days, 44 points, like I said, at New Hampshire, and then 30 points at Bristol. So 49 points at Darlington, where he started 34th and finished in 14th. So he is capable of having good DFS days in this 4-car, right? It's kind of what we were hoping for all season long out of him. We haven't really gotten it much, but I will say that he does have a win here in the Xfinity Series on this track, where the last time he was out in that 9-car for Junior Motorsports in the fall of 2022, he got you a first-place finish, led 20 laps after starting 5th. So Noah Gragson, wild card, but I think a well-deserved just earns a spot on your DFS lineups.
Yeah, I really like it. I think he's a guy we've kind of seen throughout the years. And you look at these last three guys we talked about, John Nemechek, Riley Herbst, Noah Gragson, all young guns. They've kind of made their mark in the lower series, especially. John Hunter, big time. Noah, big time. And Riley to a degree as well. But they all had a lot of success on mile and a halfs like Kansas. Noah was very good here in both the trucks and Xfinity Series. And, you know, tracks like Las Vegas, again, from Las Vegas, Noah he's done well there as well. And we've seen him pop up with some good runs in the Cup Series at these types of tracks.
I
so
do
I like
too. All right, well, get out your pen and paper. Time to go over our DFS plays for this Hollywood Casino 400 for the Kansas Speedway. Cody started you off with Elliott at $9,000 as his high price driver. I said Ryan Blaney, 10,700 is mine. Cody gave you Alex Bowman at 7,800 for his mid-tier driver. I gave you John Hunter Nemechek at $6,200 as mine. Cody said Riley Herbst at $5,000 would be a good DFS play this week. And I said Noah Gragson at $5,900 would be mine. We have reached the end of the week, Cody. Hooray.
We did it, Rod. Almost time for some Thursday night football. Let's fucking go. Always excited for NFL action. That means that another NASCAR weekend is almost here. You love that as well. What a beautiful time.
It is. And time's running out too. We are getting to the very, very end of this season where the races are ticking off now, and it's a little sad.
It is very sad. Luckily, we've got one of the shortest off seasons in all of sports, and our off seasons on this show at least stay very busy and go pretty quickly. So that is a good thing, and we stick around always as well. So that's a lot of fun. But yeah, we will. It is sad that the racing action.
Indeed. But we aren't sticking around anymore today. So we will send you off on your way to set your DFS lineups, which, by the way, I will clean sweep again this week. So go join the Discord.
Rod just swooped in and kicked everybody's ass.
I don't
in New
normally
Hampshire
go in there and do it, but I just took everybody's money last week, and that was a lot of fun. So let's do it. Let's run it back again.
Yes.
I'll put all my money back into it, and we'll see how that works. So, all right, Cody, tell everybody where they can find you out there in the real world.
Yeah, follow me over on the X at Husker_Zeeb. You can find all my stuff there. Tons and tons of football content. Got the preview out for tonight's game. NFL props coming out later today. Tons of game previews. College football upset parlays. If you're in those confidence pools, I got my confidence picks for all 16 games this weekend over there. Lots and lots of content always coming out at Husker_Zeeb. Follow the show as well at NASCAR Gambling. Give us those likes, 5 stars, all the stuff, wherever you listen and all that. Always appreciate it. And best of luck in Kansas. Next week, we won't be in Kansas anymore, Rod. Roval action for all 3 series. You got to work it in somewhere throughout the week, right?
Follow the Yellow Brick Road to the Roval and follow the Yellow Brick Road to my Twitter at RJ Villagomez, where you can find all kinds of my crazy musings and the stuff that I'm up to. Make sure you're checking out the back road tonight. Elliot and I holding it down, talking Kansas. And of course, if you're listening to this on Friday, it'll be up on YouTube for you to partake as well. All right. We'll see you guys next week for the Roval, and we will have Toto packaged up very nicely for next year. All right. We'll see you guys next week. And until then, let's go racing and let it ride.